A white couple unexpectedly gives birth to a green baby girl. She's born with magical powers. Sensing her parents' disgust, she levitates everything around her to the ceiling. Her father, who is the governor, sees her as a disgrace.
Take it away!
The reason for her green color is that her mother indulged in revelry with a lover during pregnancy and drank a magical potion he brought. Eventually, Dulcibert takes Elphaba away and raises her. However, whenever Elphaba becomes emotional, her magical powers spiral out of control, making those around her dislike her even more. In the land of Oz, there is a Shiz University where all children enter for advanced studies upon reaching adulthood. Among the students, the most notable is Galinda, whose beauty and grace always attract attention. Another eye-catching student is Elphaba, whose appearance always causes a stir.
What? What are you staring at? Do I have something in my teeth?
Elphaba isn't here to study, she's here to escort her sister Nessa. Although Nessa is born with disabilities in both legs, she has normal skin color and is deeply loved at home. The sisters have a very close relationship. Nessa has strong self-esteem and never wants to accept others' pity or help. At the welcoming ceremony, Mori, the dean of the School of Sorcery, attends and gives a speech. Wizards are the most esteemed beings in the world, and Galinda's dream is to become Mori's personal apprentice and learn sorcery from her. To curry favor with Nessa's father, the dorm manager insists on pushing Nessa's wheelchair despite the sisters' refusal. This greatly angers Elphaba.
Stop! Let her go!
Everyone is startled by the magic she unleashes. Seeing this, Mori quickly intervenes, taking responsibility for everything that just happened. Mori shows favor to Elphaba, who has demonstrated magical power. She immediately invites Elphaba to enroll at Shiz University and decides to take her as a personal apprentice. This makes Galinda very jealous. Elphaba is arranged to share a dorm room with Galinda, but the two girls never see eye to eye. Elphaba's introverted personality and strange skin color make her very unpopular among her classmates. As a result, the students prefer to side with the wealthy and beautiful Galinda in ostracizing Elphaba. In history class, Dr. Dillamond tells the students that he is the last animal teacher. Long ago, humans and animals lived in harmony, creating a brilliant civilization until a great famine occurred. To satisfy their hunger, people turned animals into food. Since then, the status of animals in the land of Oz has plummeted. Just as Dillamond is about to delve deeper, he discovers discriminatory words against animals written on the back of the blackboard. Feeling angry and frightened, Dillamond ends the class early, accidentally knocking over a vase in his haste. All the other students leave, but Elphaba stays behind to help Dillamond pick up the fallen flowers. They are both seen as outcasts by others, so they feel a sense of kinship. Afterwards, Elphaba begins to study sorcery with Mori. However, no matter how hard Elphaba tries, she can't actively control her magical powers. Mori comforts her and brings up the commotion in history class, which greatly angers Elphaba. Having grown up facing discrimination herself, she can empathize with Dillamond's experience. As her emotions fluctuate, destructive magic appears.
And keep moving.
Absolutely remarkable.
Mori can't help but express admiration. She encourages Elphaba, saying that if she learns to control her emotions, she will have a bright future. With Elphaba's talent, she has a good chance of meeting the great wizard of the land of Oz, and then everyone will see her in a different light. In the evening, just as Elphaba is about to return to her dorm, she sees Dillamond hurriedly leaving the school. Concerned, Elphaba quietly follows him. She discovers Dillamond attending a secret gathering. It turns out that many animals who have been dismissed without reason are gathered here. They have received news that humans not only plan to expel them but also intend to imprison their offspring and prohibit them from learning language. Anger nearly causes Elphaba's magic to go out of control, which also leads to Dillamond discovering her eavesdropping. Elphaba asks Dillamond why he doesn't tell the great wizard about their plight, but he only tells Elphaba not to speak of what she has heard and seen tonight. Soon after, the school is to host a grand ball. Galinda takes the initiative to invite Elphaba and gives her a witch's hat, saying it suits her. Galinda's original intention is to make Elphaba look foolish at the ball, but Elphaba mistakenly believes that Galinda sincerely wants to be her friend. At the ball, Mori presents Galinda with a magic wand and allows her to study at the School of Sorcery. Galinda is overjoyed. This is what she has always dreamed of. However, Mori tells her that this is what Elphaba has secured for her. It turns out that Elphaba, knowing Galinda's desire to become a witch, had asked Mori to take Galinda as an apprentice, otherwise she would quit the School of Sorcery. At this moment, Elphaba appears at the ball, and her attire draws much ridicule. Despite this, Elphaba confidently begins to dance in her own style. Seeing her strength and optimism, Galinda feels guilty. At this moment, she finally understands who her true friend is. So Galinda walks up to Elphaba and, disregarding the strange looks around her, begins to learn Elphaba's dance moves. The two girls, who seem so mismatched, dance together naturally and harmoniously. The surrounding students are also infected by their emotions and join in. Elphaba has always been ostracized because of her appearance, but she consistently maintains her love for life and kindness towards others. Her resilience and kindness touch everyone. From this point on, Elphaba and Galinda open their hearts to each other, becoming the best of friends who can talk about anything. Soon after, new regulations are issued, prohibiting animals from speaking and teaching.
Come on, goats.
Soldiers roughly drag away Dr. Dillamond and lock him in a cage. Elphaba protests, but she alone cannot save Dillamond. The new teacher shows everyone a caged lion cub, teaching that cages are the rightful place for animals. In her anger, Elphaba's magic begins to rage again.
Well, someone's got to do something.
Floating flowers scatter a large amount of pollen, hypnotizing everyone except Galinda's boyfriend, Fiero. It turns out that Fiero is also indignant about the animal's plight, and he escapes from the school with the lion cub and Elphaba. Together, they release the cub back into nature. Elphaba develops special feelings for this kind-hearted boy. However, she knows she doesn't deserve love, and Fiero is already in love with Galinda. Dean Mori, discovering Elphaba's astonishing magical power, immediately writes a letter of recommendation to the Great Wizard. The next day, the Great Wizard sends a messenger inviting Elphaba to the palace in Emerald City. Elphaba is both excited and nervous, and even the weather begins to change with her emotions. Mori simply waves her hand to disperse the clouds in the sky, reminding Elphaba to perform well in front of the Great Wizard. Elphaba, reluctant to leave Galinda, brings her along on the train. Emerald City is a dreamlike place, and its splendor amazes them. People sing and dance to welcome their arrival. They also learn about the history of the Land of Oz and a prophecy stating that the person who can decipher the magic book Grimiri will become the Great Wizard. Its spells can fulfill any wish. Upon entering the palace, Elphaba and Galinda see a giant mechanical mask. After learning of Elphaba's identity, a man emerges from behind the curtain. He is the Great Wizard Oz. At this moment, Dean Mori also arrives, and she and Oz are eagerly anticipating Elphaba's ability to decipher the spells in the Grimiri. Those ancient texts have long been lost, and Oz became the Great Wizard by deciphering only a small portion of the Grimiri's spells. When Elphaba approaches the Grimiri, it opens automatically. Oz tells Elphaba that the monkey guards deeply desire to fly like birds. As soon as Elphaba finishes speaking, the pages of the book begin to turn on their own, and a string of golden spells appears. Mori cannot understand these words at all, but Elphaba immediately recites them. Meanwhile, the nearby monkey shows a pained expression as a pair of wings actually grows from his back. Seeing his discomfort, Elphaba wants to reverse the spell, but Mori tells her it's impossible. At this time, wails are heard from outside the palace, as the other monkey guards have also grown wings. This excites Oz and Mori greatly.
It's just what we hoped for, eyes in the skies.
Yes, they'll make perfect spies. Spies?
Realizing they've let something slip, they decide to come clean about everything. It turns out that Oz is the one who ordered the animals' imprisonment. To make governing the citizens easier, he set up the animals as public enemies, so that others would unite together. He tricked Elphaba into giving the guards wings so they could better monitor the animals preparing to rebel. Elphaba now understands that Oz is a complete fraud who never actually deciphered the Grimiri.
Read it. Read it!
He hides behind the mask to maintain an air of mystery and conceal his lies. Oz promises to let Elphaba live in the palace and become the Great Wizard, but Elphaba refuses to join him in persecuting the animals. She flees with the Grimiri. Mori immediately orders the guards to capture Elphaba, threatening their families. Oz returns behind a mechanical mask to issue orders to the soldiers.
There's a fugitive at large here in the palace. Bring her to me.
Galinda starts chasing Elphaba, trying to persuade her to give up her resistance, but they soon lose their way. Seeing the huge hot air balloon in the center of the palace, Elphaba has an idea to escape.
Jump now!
However, a large number of arriving soldiers grab onto the rising balloon, slowing its ascent. Just as the balloon is about to fly out of the palace, the dome closes. With no choice, they jump from the balloon and hide in a warehouse. At this time, Mori announces through a broadcast to the entire nation that Elphaba is an evil witch who stole the Grimiri. She not only slanders Elphaba but also curses her with vicious words. However, Elphaba shows no signs of sadness or distress. She decides to no longer care about the labels others put on her, nor live within the rules set by others. Elphaba opens the Grimiri and recites a spell about anti-gravity. A broom from downstairs suddenly rises into the air, slowly floating in front of Elphaba. Galinda finds a black cloth and drapes it over Elphaba as a cloak, giving her a witchy and mysterious air. However, just as they are about to ride the broom and leave, Galinda is captured by soldiers lying in wait outside. Seeing more and more soldiers arriving, Elphaba has no choice but to leap into the air, shattering the glass and plummeting rapidly towards the ground. Her ears are filled with slander and curses against her, but these no longer affect her. Elphaba accepts her past, finally able to control her emotions and magical powers. At this moment, Elphaba becomes a true witch. Her powerful magic frightens Mori and Oz, who describe Elphaba as an evil and ugly wicked witch and issue a warrant for her arrest. But Elphaba no longer cares about these things. She rides her broom towards the west of the land of Oz, where she will establish a new home for the animals.